Being that I am rubbish when it comes to doing my own sketches, I decided to ask Google Gemini or Gemini Google to develop a few sketches of bees working with wood. And this last one here is the one that I decided to use, which I'm going to put on some leather, English bridal leather, to make a wee bowl. And I'm engraving it here at the Maker's Mill using this little mini laser which we have in the Leatherworks, and it works out pretty well. It does take some time. Sometimes it will run maybe half an hour, 45 minutes to do a small engraving depending on the detail. So this is the final result of that engraving on the blank piece of leather, and then this is the mold that I'm going to use to create the bowl. So then what I'm going to do, and this is in real time, I'm going to walk you through this so you'll see just how long it takes. I'm heading over to the sink past the Fibre Arts area at Maker's Mill, and I'm going to get this water heated up so it's quite hot, and I'm going to soak the leather underneath until it gets a bit floppy. So as I said, I'm doing this in real time, and it just lets you see that it doesn't take very long to make a wee dish like this, which can be used for keys, jewelry, anything. A little paper clips, you know, whatever, or even thumbtacks. You know, you could do whatever. Or this is where you could keep your cash. Yes, change. That's what it is, money. So here we are soaking the leather, and I'm just turning the disc around to get it wet. Sometimes I guess people will fill a small tray up with water and put it in and leave it sitting in there for however long. But I find that this does it fairly quick way, so I'm not too concerned about the length of time that I've got the water running. And as I said, using hot water is good because it tends to help get some of the oils and conditioner out of this English bridal leather. And so when it dries, it will tend to be a wee bit harder than you might expect. So just shake it off and head on back to the workbench where we'll get the mold and start placing the leather on the mold. Now, here we are, and there's the mold. This mold was made by a good friend of mine in Florida before we moved up here to New Hampshire 2 years ago. And I'm just centering it with the smooth side facing up, which means that the smooth side will be on the inside of the bowl. And it doesn't always come out centered just right, but you can use a wood like, well, it's sort of organic. Whatever Mother Nature decides is going to happen will now happen. So I'm taking this and I'm going to press it down by hand as far as I can go to get it started. There we go. And it takes a little bit of effort here, but not too much. And when you get it down a bit, then we can go ahead and reach over and get some assistance in doing this, unless you're exceptionally strong and you can do it all by hand. But these hands are just coming up to 75 years of age and they don't have the strength in them that you used to have. So reaching down to get a couple of clamps. Sometimes I'll use 4 clamps, but today I'm just going to use the 2 and see how it works out. And again, this is all in real time, and you'll see just how, it's sort of amazing how quickly you can make something like this up. And you can personalize this with that engraver. You can put text in it. You can do all sorts of pictures, whatever kind of imagination you have. And the personalization, you can put people's names in it, and dates, and whatever. The mini laser has just been really good for doing personalized products here. So now we're getting it tightened down on 2 sides, and that's probably as close as I'm going to get. So I'll end up backing one of them off and moving it around to the other side. So wet molding is very satisfying, and my wet molding always comes out with different borders on it. Never the two are the same. But if you take your time and you cut your leather to specific lengths and your molds are specific depths, I imagine you could come out with a set of molded pieces that are all pretty much the same. But as I said, that sort of finished look that's just a little bit wonky tends to be what I like to do. And I haven't found too many folk who've turned their nose up at them. So they all seem to be fine. And that's the bottom. I've got handcrafted at Maker's Mill on there, I think, in Wolfeboro, New Hampshire. It's a non-profit organization where it's just one big playground to do fiber arts, leather work, 3D printing, metal work, metal smithing, woodworking, fine arts, IT projects. It's just, did I mention 3D printing? It's just wonderful. So here we have the finished product. Nice little dish. Just let it dry out. I tend to push the bottom in so that it will sit flat on the counter. And that's my finished product. A little dish with a bee, chainsaw, and log getting cut up. A few more samples of the engraving that can be done with this little mini laser. Thanks for watching and have a grand day.